Hey everybody, so the NHL returns tonight from its Christmas break. But before we get back into action, I want to look at the current NHL standings versus my predictions from the beginning of the season. And we just looked at the Eastern Conference. In this video, I want to look at the Western Conference. So before we get into it, I just quickly want to remind everyone to please like and subscribe if you haven't already. That greatly helps out the channel and is much, much appreciated. So in the Western Conference, much like the East, I have gotten a number of things wrong already. There have been some things that I certainly did not see coming, and we'll get into it here as we look into the division standings out west. Starting with the Central. So in black is my original predictions from before this season started, and in green is where the standings sit right now on December 27th. So I had Nashville winning the Central Division. They've obviously been one of the more disappointing teams so far in the NHL this year. Nashville was supposed to be a contender. They are all the way down in fifth place, outside the playoff picture right now in the Central. It's not been a good year for the Nashville Predators. Now, they're certainly still within striking distance of moving up past Dallas and Winnipeg and getting into a playoff spot. But Nashville certainly does not look like a division winner, and they have been really, really disappointing this season. I had St. Louis in second place. They are actually winning the division right now. I knew St. Louis was going to be good. I didn't think that they would be this good. They only have 8 regulation losses all season long. St. Louis has been very, very good to start this season. 24 wins in 38 games played. No Stanley Cup hangover for the Blues, and they look like a team that could possibly go out and win another Stanley Cup this year. They've been outstanding this season. I had Colorado finishing third. I was a little weary about, completely going all in on the hype surrounding the Colorado Avalanche. A lot of times when those teams that get hyped up in the offseason, get hyped as much as Colorado did, a lot of times they end up being more disappointing, but that's not been the case with the Avalanche this season. They've 100% lived up to the hype. They've gone through some serious injuries to important players, and they've still found ways to win games. They've got 23 wins through 37 games played. They're 49 points, currently in second place in the division. Again, I expected Colorado to be better, but they've exceeded my expectations without a doubt. So far this season. I predicted Dallas to be in fourth, and they are in fourth right now, tied with Winnipeg with 44 points, but one more game played. Winnipeg's an interesting team. They have really surprised me this year. I think they've overachieved to this point. I was expecting a big step back from the Winnipeg Jets, given all that they lost this past offseason, particularly on their defense. Really, they lost 3 of their top 4 defensemen and didn't exactly replace any of them with top 4 defensemen. It's really a no-name defense at this point, with the exception of Josh Morrissey. And Winnipeg's still winning. They're in third place right now. They've got 44 points. Connor Hellebuck has been absolutely outstanding in goal for them. He is the reason that they are in a playoff spot right now. And Winnipeg's just found a way to win games despite all those losses in the offseason, and I've been really, really surprised by that. So I was very, very wrong about Winnipeg. I had them dropping all the way down to 6 in the division and out of the playoffs, and it's not looking like that so far. Chicago, another team that I was kind of wrong about. I didn't have them making the playoffs. I had them in 5th, being the last wild card team. They're actually the worst team in the division this year, even worse than Minnesota. I was wrong about Chicago. I thought we were going to see a step up this year. I thought things were going to, they were way up here, then they fell down. I thought they had bottomed out last year, and we were going to see them start to head back the other way, and they've got some good younger players, and they added to their defense this offseason. I thought Chicago was going to make that next step back up in the right direction. That's not been the case at all. They're in dead last this year, and 5 points behind Minnesota, so pretty well in dead last as well. And then there's Minnesota, who I predicted to finish last. They're not great. They're not that good of a team, but they're not in last because Chicago's been even worse. So overall, I think the biggest surprise for me in this division certainly is the Winnipeg Jets. I had them finishing, pretty well near the bottom, and they're actually in third place. Everything else, Nashville, obviously a huge disappointment, but within striking distance still of a playoff spot. Colorado we knew would be good. St. Louis we knew would be good. I didn't think they'd be this good, so they've exceeded my expectations a little bit, but, I had them being good teams. Dallas, I think, is right about where I expected them. It's Chicago and Nashville are worse than I thought, and Winnipeg is better than I thought, pretty much, are the surprises in this one. Moving on now to the Pacific, and boy, the Pacific's a wild division. It's a very weak division overall, and there are a lot of teams, still in it because no one's been able to pull away. I mean, when you look at it, the top 5 teams are all within 4 points of each other. So, these standings can change very, very quickly. But right now, Arizona's in first place. I had Vegas winning the division this year. Vegas, even though they're in second place and not that, they're tied for first points-wise, Vegas to me has been a little bit disappointing this season. I thought they were going to be one of the top tier teams in the league, and that with that forward group especially, that we were going to see a dynamic team from the Golden Knights this year. They really haven't been all that great. It's just they're right there because they play in a weaker division. But they're in second place. I had them in first, not too far off there. They're certainly within striking distance of still winning this division. Arizona, to me, has been a huge surprise. I had Arizona finishing 5th in this division. I thought that they'd be, we'd see things headed in the right direction. They'd be a little bit better. I wasn't expecting this kind of jump from the Arizona Coyotes. There was, really... And we'll get to Vancouver later. I was expecting a more significant improvement from Vancouver than Arizona, and I think I picked the wrong team there. It's gone the opposite. Arizona has shown a massive improvement this season, playing great defensively. Just added Taylor Hall in that big trade with the New Jersey Devils to add some offense, and Arizona now is looking like a team that should win this division, and certainly be a team that could go on a deeper playoff run. So Arizona, I was very, very wrong about. They've been very, very good. I had another team extremely wrong about, the San Jose Sharks. I thought San Jose was going to finish second this year. Going into the season, we all knew San Jose was going to take a step back. They lost Joe Pavelski. They lost a lot of their depth. They were in salary cap trouble. We knew that they were going to take a step back. I don't think anybody expected them to take the step back that they have all the way down to 7th place in the division. San Jose's having a disaster of a year. I don't know what else to say other than that. It's been an absolute disaster of a year. I had Vancouver finishing 3rd. Vancouver's been a disappointment in my mind. With all the additions this offseason that they made, I thought they were a team that would surely be in the playoffs this year. They're still within striking distance. They're at 42 points. They're only 1 point out of a playoff spot right now. But I thought they were going to be better than what they've been. They've been very, very inconsistent this season. And maybe they figure it out more in the second half and get it together a little bit better. But Vancouver hasn't been as good as I thought they were going to be. Edmonton, who is in 3rd place, has been much better than I thought they would be. It seems like every year people are waiting for Edmonton to finally make that jump and be a playoff team again. I just didn't. Going into the season, I just wasn't expecting that. I don't trust them. I don't, it seems like every time I pick the Oilers to be good, they end up finishing last or dead last or second to last, something like that. So this year I'm like, you know what? Throw Edmonton down in 6th place or whatever. They're not going to be good. And right now they're in a playoff spot. They've been pretty decent. Calgary I was spot on with. Calgary I had finishing 4th, and they are in 4th right now. I knew we were going to see a step back. Calgary's one of those teams that alternates good years and bad years. And last year they were obviously very, very good. They won the division at 107 points. Looking at that goaltending situation, I just went, ooh, that's not great. and their defense as well. Really don't have a lot of depth on the back end. Heavily reliant on their top four. I knew that injuries could very easily kill that team. So I going into the season, I was thinking Calgary was going to see a decline from where they were last year. That has been the case, although I think they've been a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. They're 19, 15, and 5 on the season. I was expecting a little worse than that. But still, 4th place is where I thought they would finish, and that's where they are right now. See, we've talked about Arizona, Edmonton, Anaheim, and LA. I thought would be the worst two teams in the division. Neither of them are very good. I was spot on with LA being in last. Anaheim's got 34 points too. Actually, it's funny. Anaheim, San Jose, and LA, the 3 California teams, are the 3 worst teams in the division, all tied with 34 points. So they are really right on top of each other right now. I had Anaheim and LA being at the bottom. I did not have San Jose. That's the only thing that messed that up. But overall, I would say I knew Vegas would be good. And I knew that LA and Anaheim would be bad. Those are about the only things I've gotten right in this division. And Calgary's right about what I expect them to be. But Arizona and Edmonton have been significantly better than I thought they would be. Vancouver's been a disappointment, and San Jose obviously has been shockingly bad this season. So there's the Western Conference standings versus my predictions. I feel like I did decently well with the Central, not good with the Pacific at all. Got a lot of things wrong in the Pacific. So obviously we're only not even to the halfway point of the season yet, closing in on the halfway point of the season, so there's still time for things to change. But overall, again, predictions, especially in the NHL, you have to take with a grain of salt, because it's too difficult a league to accurately predict consistently. There's surprises every year, good and bad. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.